Hello everyone, I am Pornpan Pichai, a third-year PhD student in the School of Computing Science at the University of Glasgow. I am working with Dr. Julie and Dr. Matthew. In my presentations, I will talk about a study that I did in my research, alternative designs for an interactive exhibit running in museum. How does user experience differ across different technologies? VR, tangible and gesture. Diorama like animal habitats is the classic media that museum has been used for a long time to deliver a sense of immersion to visitors. Some researchers mention that immersive experience has effective for museum running because it has more fun and exciting than formal running. It's more memorable experience and effective in holding visitor attention. In ways, the choice of technology may have an impact on exhibit effectiveness, user engagement, and learning outcomes. Let's consider the three types of technology are displayed in this slide. What is the difference between them? The tangible interface is simpler than other types, and people will feel familiar to interact with the system as they interact with the physical object around them, not only deliver a sense of task, but also promote social interactions between visitors as well. In contrast, the gesture-based interface is touchless technology. People will use their body to interact with the system, especially using their hand. It is quite a natural way to interact with the system. However, using gesture-based technology must dealing with the performance of the sensor. And VR is a new technology trend for museums that can deliver an immersive experience, mainly using a controller as an input device that make people feel intuitive to interact with the VR. We don't argue that VR can simulate many virtual world experiences, but it lacks social interaction between visitors. To answer which technology is better than others, and the factor that affect user experience that we must consider when choosing technology. So, we conduct a study. We did an empirical study to compare user experience between different types of user interface. The study chose three types of interface: VR, tangible-based interface, and gesture-based interface to create three different interactive exhibits, but deliver the same scientific contents and same activity. The study has two hypotheses. Hypothesis 1, there is no difference between the user experience quality when using this different technology. Hypothesis 2, VR has a higher holding power than other interface in this study. This slide shows an example of the system design for the tangible-based interface. For VR, we recreate an object in the virtual environment. The player will use the controller to pick up an object and drop it into a target area that represents smell, eat, and touch. The system will give feedback according to the reaction of the human body on poisons of mushroom and frog, safe or dangerous. For the gesture, the player will see their virtual hand in the scene. The study used mixed methods, qualitative and quantitative. Gather data from 31 participants, which used within group study. The quantitative data measured two factors. First, the sufficient user experience measured by the Standard User Questionnaire (UEQ). It has 26 questions that can be divided into 6 factors. And second, the holding power indicates the time that the player played the interactive exhibit. For qualitative, we used video recordings and semi-structured interviews to finding some issue using each interactive exhibit. The next slide will show you the result from the study. This slide shows the mean value of each factor in UEQ. The results show that VR receives higher efficiency, stimulations, and novelty than tangible. In contrast, the tangible shows more attractiveness and perspicuity than VR. For gestures, all factors receive the lowest value compared with others, especially efficiency factors. To finding the significant difference this interface, we used post-hoc Wilcoxon silence test by Bonferroni's corrections that set significance less than 0.017. The results show significant difference between gesture and tangible, and gesture and VR in 5 factors except for novelty. For the holding power, the result shows no significant difference between these interfaces. In the next sections, I will discuss some in detail of user experience feedback from the interval. In these sections, I will show you some key points from the analysis of the results. In these studies, many participants reported that they were unfamiliar with the gesture-based interface, so they paid their attention to interact with the system without focusing on the content. Furthermore, the task designed for playing with the lift motion doesn't fit with the sensor. When players close their hand to picking up an object, cause the sensor had difficulty detecting the player hand, so it reduced the system efficiency. And as a consequence, the players cannot perform the task, which deceives the player leads the learning contents of the interactive exhibit. And another point is the system feedback. Many participants in this study mentioned that the modality of feedback helps them more understand the content. Many participants mentioned that they have difficulty reading the text in VR, especially when using VR in the public area. We cannot confirm the adjustment of the access fits everyone or not. On the other hand, using animation with analogy technique makes some participants feel confused between negative and positive meaning. Finally, we used the result for this study to suggest 6 aspects for the interactive exhibit designer when choosing technology to create a new interactive exhibit. The 6 aspects include: first, novelty. If the user interface is not usually used in visitor daily life, visitor will feel quite new. Second, user friendliness. The difficulty of user interface prevents visitors from learning the exhibit scientific content. Third, the position of the input device. The poor position of the input device makes the players annoying and stop playing the interactive exhibit. Fourth, task and device design. Should consider the task that we design as appropriate with the technology we choose or not. Fifth, multimodality of feedback. The multi-channel of feedback helps visitors more understand the content. The last one, the quality of text in VR was carefully designed to deliver the content with text via VR. It affects player readability in the virtual environment. To conclude my presentations, the study aimed to investigate the factors that make the user experience different across alternative technologies, including VR, tangible-based interface, and gesture-based interface. The result shows significantly different experience when using different types of technology, and no significant difference in holding power. Analysis of the results suggests 6 aspects of choosing an alternative technology, composed of the novelty, user friendliness, the positions of input device, tags and device design, multimodality of feedback, and quality of text in VR. is the end of my presentation. Thank you for your listening.